Hey, welcome to Text Me When You Outside, the podcast celebrating the past and present leaders of nightlife, live entertainment, and hospitality. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon McEachern, followed by my co-host,
Marcus Allen.
Let's get it going.
Because it was always ill to me looking from the outside in, because there were so many faces that became faces that, to be honest with you, like I can't recognize them outside of the brand. Now, no disrespect to any of them, because I'm sure that they were moving and shaking in their own merit. I just don't know, as a nigga who wasn't from New York, who was just kind of like popping in, you know what I'm saying, who knew you from the prefix and all that kind of stuff. Like who was actually a part of the team? You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many people around, I don't really know who was the team.
Shit, nigga, there was times I didn't know who was around. But it was, so it started, when it started, it was myself, Low-Key, who was our host, Kaz, who was like our real connect to like entertainment and the industry, my guy Fox, and that was like the core four that when we started it. And then
what was Kaz doing? What was his connection like?
At the time, Kaz used to be at the Source, and then so he was at the Source and editorial for a while. And at that point, he might have been a Bleacher Report by this time. But Kaz was like, and he had his relationships with like the Wale's of the world, Wiz, a bunch of artists. So like they would always hit Kaz because he's writing about them. So he would always just like, you know, hit Kaz when they in town, like, yo, boom. And if it lined up, no, that was how we got our first ever artist performance, was through Kaz.
Interesting.
Like, in DC, mind you. So we were in DC.
Wale joint.
Yeah, at Blind Wino.
I was there. Our homecoming.
Yes. Yeah. But the way it happened was so ill. He was out the night before.
Legendary night that day too. That shit was legendary. Y'all feel that joint out, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. That shit was legendary.
It's funny that we're talking because, you know, we had a very interesting relationship with DC for like years. Like, but it actually made me love DC even more, because you talk about a cat, like what I was just saying earlier, like, man, this nigga hating, or like, man, it's a valid criticism, because they let us hear it. Like the first time we went out there was a disaster, and they was like, yo, we are not fucking with that if it comes back, but unless y'all come correct, which was that next one. So we were like, all right, we heard you. We're going to get the right venue. We're going to make sure the ticket situation is set up. We're going to have separate lines. You know, we're going to start on time, but we're saying this out loud on like social media, like telling like, yo, we heard everything. Like we're going to address all those concerns. Like we'll be happy to have y'all back. And bro, we sold out in 3 days, and without
Ian, because Ian had to come get me. I think B was with us. Ian had to come because it was completely sold.
I remember, man. Yeah.
It was madness, bro. But to just to give Kaz his flowers, like he was out with Push and Wale the night before, just at a club, and he was like, "Yo, we got the joint tomorrow. Like, would love for y'all to pull up." We assumed Wale was gonna come, but Kaz hit me that morning like, "Yo, Push is coming."
Pulling up.
So, I was like, what does that mean? Like, we don't have, that's not built in our operations. Like, we don't know how to facilitate artist hospitality. We don't know how to do none of that. I'm just like, yo, what does he need? That's all I said. I was like, what does he need?
Yeah.
Yo, just block out the parking space in the back. We'll walk him through, you know, give him a bottle. Boom, boom. He just want to chill. I was like, bet. We could do that. So we come up on the little back way of Blind Wino up them stairs, and he's just on stage chilling. Nobody sees him because Cats is partying. Like nobody sees him, and I forget who was on the set, but they just start playing some Clips joints. But again, nobody's, because those is joints, so that you're not thinking Ryan come on. You're not like, oh, push.
There's no history of y'all having artists.
Yeah, exactly. Bro, this nigga just starts. Like he grabs the mic because he wasn't supposed to perform. He was like, yo, oh no,
it's a vibe.
I gotta get some of this. Grabs the mic, just starts from ghetto to ghetto. I
don't know if you like where you was at exactly, Clam. You was probably on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I remember telling, I don't know if it was B, I don't know if it was my man C, I don't know who it was.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being like, yo, this floor about to collapse.
Oh,
because it was upstairs.
Oh, bro.
You know what I mean? Like the
stage.
floor was, yo, it was absolutely about to collapse. Like I'm literally like in my mind, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
My high production ass is in there,
Yep.
like, oh my God, this shit about to be like something crazy.
Nah, I had the same feeling. I was on the side of the stage when it was all happening. I was like, yo, this shit look unsafe. But it's fucking lit though. Like we can't stop. And
so was DC your first, when y'all left in New York and had killed it, DC was the first stop after that?
Yes,
Gotcha.
because Low Key went to Howard. He would always he had hosted Yard Fest. Yeah, definitely shout out to Low. He was there the year before. He hosted Yard Fest the year before. I think that was the 2 Chainz Drake year. The year before that.
Yes.
And so he was just like, yo, cats got to come down to DC. This shit is lit. Like we got a built-in audience. Like people gonna fuck with it. And I was like, okay, cool. And so when we went during Howard Homecoming, and it sold out immediately.
What's that? That's 16. That's 16.
This is like 13, 14.
No, it's 13, 14. It ain't that far.
13,
yeah,
14.
you're right. Yeah, 13, 14.
Yeah.
It's like 13, 14. And it was, I remember, because I hadn't been to Howard Homecoming in probably like 3-4 years, but I used to go down with some of my frat brothers and, you know, go to the tailgate, do the whole nine. I appreciated Howard Homecoming, but I was like, we go back, it was completely different. Like it was on another level. And, you know, when we did that one with Push, I remember like this. It was funny we talking about Twitter again. He just tweeted. He was like, "Yo, Kings of Howard Homecoming." I was like, "What?"
Wow. You can't pay for that type shit right there.
He put us in the song, bro. Like he said it again in the song, like Kings of Homecoming. I was like, you know, and that was like,
damn.
He was actually one of our first partners too. With Play Close, we did.
Oh wow.
We did a merch partnership.
So, question. So, at what point? Because I feel like I remember y'all shut down. I don't know if that was new. I don't know if that was Miami or if that was. Yeah, was that Miami? I feel like y'all shut down Miami for something. Like how did it? Where did the tour go? Like, all right, so you got DC. When did you guys say, all right, we about to move around and start going to more cities? Because I feel like y'all touched LA, y'all touched a few markets.
We touched all of the big markets, because after that DC one, I was like, okay, like this shit got some legs. It's not just some New York shit. Like people like, as long as we tapping into the locals the right way, like we could do it properly. So if like we went to that year, which was 2015, was our first year of the tour. We went to DC, Atlanta, Houston, and LA. I was like, yo, let's just start there. We know people in all, and that was a common denominator too. Like we got to know people on the ground, like who could help us, like give us credibility, help us move tickets. Because you guys know, you go into certain markets, it's hyper local. Like they don't, and I don't say that in a bad way. Like it's just like Houston. Fuck with Houston.
You gotta know somebody on the ground. You gotta
know, and you have to know, more than likely, you got to know the guy or the girl to move it, you know? And so like, with that in mind, we went to those 4 places in 2015. And I remember I was nervous for all of them, but I remember like the one in Atlanta, like it was like the day before, and we had sold probably like half of our tickets. I was just like, man, this shit gonna be a dud. And I ended up hitting one of my dudes in Atlanta. He was like, dog, y'all niggas is buzzing out here. I was like, what? I was like, oh. He's like, but no. He's like, this is a day of walk-up market.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I learned in the story. I was like, oh shit. Like because I like to be prepared. I like to have my ticket, you know, in advance. He's like, yo, other places, bro, especially in the South. He was like, cats they don't know what they doing until Saturday morning. So they gonna pull up. He's like, trust me, bro. You're going to sell out. I was like, I don't know, man. And Atlanta, dog, we moved like half hour. It was like a 1,400 person venue. Dog, we sold 800 tickets the day of. And I was just like, Because when I walked up, people were lined up, and I'm thinking these are just ticket holders who were excited. And they like, yo, y'all still got tickets? Because I would also cut the link off the day of, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to drive, people to the door. And all. But they was like, yo, you still got tickets? We was like, yeah. Yeah. And it's like, all right, bet. Start calling people. Yo, they still got tickets. Get here now. And it was, and it blew. But the tour was like really on some like, how far can we take this?
Yeah.
And then, it was a lot of trial and error at that point too, because don't get it twisted, everyone was not a hit. Like
was there a deal with Henny at this point? Have y'all had conversations? Are they fucking with y'all? Like, are they donating product? Anything?
Man, so we had a lot of conversations. That's one thing. Like we had a lot of meetings. We had a lot of conversations. It was just like who was leading the business over there at the time. They just couldn't wrap their mind around how to do it. And it's just from our end, it was very simple, but we didn't know. We're not in the building. We don't know corporate politics. We don't know all of that. So we were upset because we were like, yo, this is a no-brainer, nigga, slam dunk, which it still was. Like I ride by that to this day, but it was more so like they just had to navigate some things on their end that they weren't able to in the time. But it was love. Like, if somebody could slide us some cases, they did. They always did. They showed love.
So it's like more of a local rep thing, relationship, local market.
Yeah, absolutely. It was taking care of, like unspoken, like, yo, which to me was still helpful because it was still affecting revenue at the
right. Because it was helping y'all sell tickets. It was still a cost that was helping y'all reduce your overhead.
Exactly.
So let's speak to like what happened. Because I guess we obviously know what happened, right?
Yeah.
And there was Dusse came. Like, when does Dusse come into the marketplace? Like, is that 17? Because they came hard.
So the conversation started in 2016. So at this point, we're
busting ass.
It's not the hottest thing going, right?
Yeah.
On the ground, on social, and like everywhere. So they came to us first. They approached us first and was like, yo, what's up? Like, let's do something. And it came via Mint Bleak. Mint Bleak, like, it reached out to somebody he knew. I was like, yo, I wanna fuck with the Henny cats. Like, so we had our first like kind of sit down at Rock, and it wasn't time. Like it didn't make sense. They weren't there as a brand yet. We still honestly didn't even know how to like value our company. We didn't know what our worth was, none of that. So we was just still having fun with it. But
yeah, my bad. It wasn't
no money.
And somebody, hold on. We all in the same age bracket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, you built an event.
Yep.
In motherfucking Memphis Bleak.
Yep.
How did that make you feel initially, my king? Like, please speak to that, bro. Like,
that's the big homie, little homie. Let's be clear. You know what I'm saying?
What? Like,
it was real. Like, so for me, like, y'all know me. Like, I don't really be believing shit at first when people say it's like, yo, Memphis Bleak went up, whatever, nigga. Like, but when it was like real, I was just like, oh shit, like, okay, this is real. So you have that moment of like, you have your oh shit moment, like, damn, it's bleak. Like, I listen to this and that, and then you kind of got to turn that off quick to start thinking in your business brain of like, okay, like what's, because you at the same time you don't want to take a brick, you don't want to like get it, because you struck, now you taking a shitty deal. But we was just like, yo, like so I always approached it with like just an amount of just like reverence, respect, love, like appreciation, like just gratitude for even being recognized. And then once I like was able to kind of process that, I was like, okay, so what can we do? Like,
got it.
And that was, that was tough for me because I grew up like Rockefeller was everything in my childhood to my adulthood.
You go to the offices. You go to the Rockefeller. I mean, I guess that's not even Rockefeller. That's Rock Nation.
It's fully Rock Nation. Go to the office. It's Basquiat's everywhere. It's gold plated everything. The floor to ceiling glass. It's an office. And I sit down and I have no idea. Like this is my first time ever being in a meeting like this for something that I've done. Like I've been in high leverage meetings for whether I was working in advertising, talking to brands about, bringing them to market. Like I've done that, but I haven't done it for myself. So there's a little bit of insecurity there too of like, damn, am I supposed to be here?
Speak up.
Am I like, what? And did they come to us? They like, I'm just, again, that humility, but also like kind of a bit of imposter syndrome. Like, damn, they really fucking with us like this? Like, is what we're building really like that special? Really, I know it is to me. Like, nobody can take it, but to see how others like receive it and view it and like revere it, it always used to trip me out. So when we're sitting there in that first meeting, we're meeting with the gentleman who was running Dusse at the time for Roc Nation, because they have their Bacardi, they're under Bacardi, so Bacardi has a portion of it. I'm not sure how it's structured now, but like Roc Nation also, had a portion of the business as well, and they kind of like just split, the ass between marketing, activations, and all that. Right. So we were talking strictly to Roc Nation, and he was just like, we love what you guys are doing, boom, boom, boom. And, what do you think it'll take to do it? And I was like, I had no idea. So I was just like, yo, we got to like think about it, talk back. But like, how do you guys envision something like this working? Because again, I need information. I don't know how to negotiate for myself.
Right.
So I was just like, no. So like, well, how do you guys see it working? So it just like was a little bit of back and forth. And I was super close with Lenny S. So that was like my like Lenny was my confidant who I would always call, ask, talk through everything with. And when we left, I just didn't feel like it was the right time like that. And as soon as like I got downstairs, I was like, yo, like I love the energy. I know the synergy obviously, but I just don't think it's the right time. And I was like, I think we as a business and as a brand, I think we could do a little bit more, because the next time a conversation like this happens with anybody, I think we just need to be better prepared. But like I didn't take the time. And that was 2016. We go on go crazy for the next, year and a half. We're doing 24 shows a year. We're hitting all major markets. We're selling shit. Like it's crazy.
You're doing this independent at the time.
Doing this independently out of our pockets. So like it's, and that started to eat at me. So 2017, like just being transparent, I was over it. I'm like, man, we burning. I'm burning everything. I'm burning resources. I'm burning my time. Like, I'm making a little bit of paper, but it's not about the money. But like, I'm making a little bit of paper. Like, it's nowhere near what it should be. Yeah,
because I think at the end of the day, like the lifestyle, until the mathematic gets on your side, a part of the compensation is social.
Yes,
you know what I mean, like. And I think that's the part of this hospitality promoter nightlife lifestyle that if you look at it throughout the whole year, like a part of what you getting is that you do got to recoup it socially.
Yes.
And hopefully that social recruit turns into a relationship that turns into another deal that you can parlay. You know what I'm saying?
1,000%.
Definitely not like, yo, we out here making 20,000 a night. And it's just.
No, it was, yo, you hit the nail on the head, like relationships and like building them and then like viewing them as currency. Because for me, like what I wasn't getting like on the financial side, I just became really rich in relationships where like, it's funny. I was just talking to my man about this the other day of just like, I have the ability because of this thing to go anywhere in America, make one phone call, and I'm set. Like, I'm in DC. All right, where you want to go? What you want to eat? What do you want to do? Yo, go here. They're going to take care of you. And I have that everywhere. And, like you can't really put a value on that, right? Like, cause we know dudes who got it, who got to pay for the motion, who got to like, pay to move around, to have access, right? Like, bro, thank God. They're in a door in America I can't walk through.
And going back to, and my bad to interrupt you, Kam, but going back to Marcus's point earlier about your ecosystem and what you built with Henny is the folks that came from that tree.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like from photographers that are huge now, from, you know, to your point, the Kaz's, low key got the Apple Beach show and, you know what I mean? Like Rory, you know what I mean? Shout out to Rory and Ma. They always hold us down, you know what I mean? But like, man, it's just so powerful. Like going back to your point, like just what was built from that, you know, and all the things that have come from that.
Yeah, it's been beautiful to see even now, right? Like you talking about something we did it in 4 years, and you know people even still ask about it. You know, to see all of them doing doing what they want to do, like that's powerful. That's currency, right? Being able to do what you want to do on your terms. You know, I think like that was something that we were all searching for back then, you know, right? Like we all had different backgrounds, came from different shit, but like we all just wanted to do what we wanted to do and do it our best way, and you know, and be compensated for it. And I think, you know, because at that time you got to think what the landscape was like there when we were coming up, bro. We weren't calling people creatives, you know, like we weren't calling people creators. Like it was like influencer was not a thing. Tastemaking was not a thing. Like you had to. You know, you had to get it out the mud. You had to hustle. You had to have skills. You had to. I'm not saying that those people don't have skills. Like don't cancel.
But you had to do the work. You had to earn. You had to do the work to earn a title. Like
absolutely.
Do it in the inverse.
You couldn't do it in the inverse. Like you couldn't use that to go get it. You had to do the work, and I think that's something that we were kind of doing it blind of just like like I don't know where this road leads me to like you saw in the beginning. I still don't even know what to call myself. But, in terms of just what we were able to do with that ecosystem, with those relationships, with the culture, like that was like I always say like we were right people, right place, right time. Like, cause like you could have 2 of the 3 and it's not going to work, but it got to be right people, right place, right time. And then you just got to, make the right decisions. But I think, just to think about it and all of it's encapsulated in like just what it was and what it still is, because it hasn't died. It lives on through people's memories, through this next generation, like who's doing it in a similar way, or who watched or were able to watch a Broccoli City, able to watch a Palooza, and now they want to do their own version of it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I actually encourage it because they're supposed to do the better version of what we did. I did the better version of something else, so I think like that's something too that even us as I don't want to call us elder statesmen, but experienced, mature cats in the game, like that's something that we got to recognize too, is like the landscape is now changing again. And I could very well be very old man, back in my day, shit was this, shit was that. But these kids are going to have a completely different world than we have. And I'm sorry for going off tangent, but
no. This is great.
This is great.
So
go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, so then you grinding, the money not like that. You like, I need to circle back, probably hit Lenny S. like, what's happening?
Bro, to the T, that's what happened. So like this 2017, and like we in the middle of like a 4 shows in 5 weeks run. And I'm just like, all I'm watching is just the money leave. And I'm like, man, like, I ain't seen a deposit in a minute. Like, but we getting, but I know something's coming from tickets on the back end. But even when that's coming, I'm like, man, the number that's going out is bigger than the number that's coming back in. Yeah. I don't have to be an economist to know what the fuck is going on. So, we got to rethink this. And I woke up one day, called my business partner at the time. I was like, some shit got to change, man. Like, something got to give. This can't go on like this anymore. This is the summer of 2017. I was like, this can't go on no more. I'm gonna try to make a move. So I just text Lenny like, Dusse Palooza, what up? Crazy.
Let's go.
Dusse Palooza, what up? He just wrote back, LOL. Y'all serious? And I was like, 1000%. So I call him we just we had a conversation. Then I was very big on like being in front of people. So like, yo, bro, I'm gonna come meet you. Like, where you at? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna run down on you. That's how Cam do though. I love it. Go ahead.
So like with him, this is my friend at this point. So we're just like talking through it. I was like, yo, bro, like we're serious. Like we the time is now. We also, so beyond just like the financials and the operational piece, we had grown tired of like, we were doing our thing, but we were still championing a brand that we weren't receiving anything from. So it's just like, yo, for them, like, bro, we move in units. Like we put in, what did they say, liquor to lips? Like we're doing that consistently and not seeing anything from that. Not only are we not seeing anything from that, like
they're not even acknowledging your
acknowledging. Like we're like the thing you don't speak about in that building, which was hilarious because like that should have been the only thing they were speaking about. But so it was like all of those things that I was just tired, and I was like, yeah, we got to do something. So then we start having the conversations. Lenny was like, all right, let me hit Jay. I was like, all right, hits Jay, and he's like maybe, bro, I was in a cab when he told me, he's like, I'm gonna hit Jay. I'm like in a cab going back to my crib. So I shower, get dressed, and literally walk to my little restaurant spot to go get some food. So it's probably like a 40-minute time span. He's like, he's in. He wants to do it. And then he sends me the screenshot like.
So for those of you who don't know who he's talking about, he just said Jay, but he's talking about JC, Sean Carter. I just wanted to clarify that. You know what I mean? Text me when you outside.
I don't call him Jay, by the way. I just call him Hove. But he
Vito. I call him Vito. Yeah. I don't know him, but shout out to Vito.
But he sends me that, and I'm still again like that back to not believing.
Yeah,
like,
you French type shit.
Like, yeah. Stop playing. He's like, nah. He's like, yo, I'm gonna set up the meeting, come back to the office, and boom, right? So meeting's like 3 days later. We go back to the same office, same conference room, like the whole thing. For those who have never been, it's a very intimidating office. Like just in terms of like all the shit going on, you kind of understand the moment when you walk in there, all the history, everything. It can be intimidating, but if you're a fan, it's also like you're kind of like awestruck too when you're in there. Like damn. It's all old pictures of this from what is it? Baseline, like the studio, all this stuff, like shit that's been in like the museum. Like you're seeing all this shit, and you're like, damn. And like this time, no, I'm prepared. I'm like, oh no, like, I know what what we were finding the Randon's joint. Like, yo, let's go. But still didn't know how that particular meeting was going to go. I'm like, I don't know we ain't got no agenda. It's just like shoot the shit, right? So homie comes in again from Dusse with notepad. Puts the notepad on the table. It's this blank white notepad. He's like, yo, what's the number? And I'm like, the number for what? He's like, the number to get the deal done. I said, oh, at this point, we got lawyers, we got business managers. I'm like, oh no, we got to go back. We're going to put together a proper proposal based off of like our schedule, what we want to do, kind of like our overhead. We're going to give you a full breakdown. Give us 2 days. So we go back, we put the proposal together. We're like, yo, we want this. We get different scenarios. We talking about rev share. We put a proper proposal together. I was so proud. I'm like, man, like we did this. Yeah, like, I'm putting together this crazy proposal thing. I'm about to boom, 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 right? We put the proposal together. We send it over. Niggas like, it's too high. I said, okay. And instead of like getting discouraged, I was like, so give me a range of like where we are. Like y'all let me know what we're talking about and we'll figure it out. And so that ended up that's how the negotiation started. So it didn't take long. It was like a 2-week negotiation. It actually ended up being favorable for us in the end. That's still like entrepreneurs. Like we didn't give no parts of our business away. Like we didn't, there was no equity play for it. It was just like we got a very favorable deal, especially for the way our operation was run. Like it was very favorable. So when we did that, I was hyped. So I'm just up like middle of the night thinking like, man, like this shit's about to happen. This shit's about to happen. And so this is still summertime, mind you. So we're on our way. It's now into the fall. We're on our way to DC for Howard Homecoming. This is like, at this point, we're a staple at Howard Homecoming. We were at Echo Stage. I want to say this was, I forget who we had as the headliner, but it was a great, like, sold out like show on Echo Stage. And we hadn't really talked about like the move yet and all that. And I was like, yo, I got it. I know exactly how we gonna do this shit. We was riding down one of them church vans from New York to DC, and I was like, yo, I got it, yo. He was like, what? I was like, yo, we gonna cut a promo when we get to our Airbnb for the show. We had all our shows lined up. So
I remember them shits. I remember them joints. That's crazy.
Like, we wanted to make them like trailers. So this one, I was like, this one has to be the illest one, because we're going to tell people our show in New York is the last Henny Palooza ever. Like, just, I'm about doing, yo, this is the last. Because, you know, at this point, it got a cult following. People love this shit. So you tell cats it's the last one ever. One, they're going to ask why. Like, what's it, like, where's it going? What's happening? But two, the demand through the roof. Like, I was like, yo, we used to drop our tickets for our last show of the year always after Howard Homecoming, which gave us about 6 weeks to sell out a show. So when we did that one, we cut the promo. My guy's editing it in real time, and we drop it when we leave. What I didn't, right before we dropped it, I realized, I was like, oh, this is God working. We had been at that for 5 years. The show in New York was our 50th show. So I was like, the numbers match up. This is our 50th show over 5 years. Like, it's just so much story there. You know, as a marketer, I'm just like, man, nigga, I'm having so much fun with this. So then we broke that trailer promo off into side promos where people just telling their favorite story about their favorite one, interviewing audience people, DJs who have been a part of it, all that. But anyway, so we dropped down like last Henny Palooza ever. And then that goes through, like, the last Henny Palooza ever was a shit show. It was at Terminal 5. It was like 4,000 people. About 1,000 of them was on stage for that one, because it was a moment. Like, I didn't even realize it at the time because I was annoyed, but like, people were under the impression that that was the last time they would ever get to experience that. And so you had people flying from everywhere, LA, Miami, Chicago. Like, that was probably the most people we had, not from New York, at a New York party. And, you know, afterwards, everybody's like celebrating, boom, boom, boom. And this is like early December. So I'm like, we got to announce this shit. Because like the deal was done at this point. So I was just like, we got to announce it. I wanted to announce it at the party, but I was like, nah, we going to let this just ride out, give it its own thing. But then I was like, we got to cut another promo. And we took the very rebellious angle of like telling the truth of like why we were moving into Dusse, like what was behind our decision. Because, you know, it's easy to look at and say, oh, yeah, I just needed some bread. But we went and told the story about, like, you know, fucking with who fucks with you. And like, you know, people make it clear if they do or they don't by their actions type of shit. And then, you know, we pull, you know, some clips just from Hove's entrepreneurship journey, him talking about his struggles with building shit, some of the title freestyle, all that shit. Like, we put all that into this promo. It was beautifully shot, beautifully cut. And I just held it. And I sent it to Lenny. I was like, send this to Hove. And he sent it to him. And he would always just send me the screenshot of their convo. And he was just like, this thing just wrote back culture in all capitals with a joint. And I was like, I want to get to that point in my life when I could just send niggas one word text and it changed their whole.
And that shit just move it. Let's go.
It changed my whole demeanor. I was like, oh yeah, we did the right thing. Like, you know, so, but it was at that moment when I think even they realized how big it was, because like we didn't realize, like, we was just making a move. Like, and when you're so ingrained in what you're doing, it's hard to zoom out and like really like feel the full moment. But they was like, oh man. But then it got even realer when we released the video, because we dropped that shit in January, like just boom, boom, boom. New
Is that
beginning.
joint still online?
Yeah, absolutely. This is still there.
We gotta run that. We gotta run that.
That shit is still there. So like that happens. Just to wrap the bow. So that happens. I remember, but that was probably one of the craziest days in my adult life of just like, y'all know, y'all do something big, your phone
was going viral.
Yo, I remember the picture.
I remember too.
Oh, I'm like, yo.
To the point, God rest his soul, Nipsey Hussle was pushing that shit out, retweeting like, yo, nah, like these, like I fuck with what they doing. Yo, like you can't pay for no shit like that. Like, and so when we move in and out, like you got everybody in the comments, like people that probably just found me, like, yo, this is crazy, yo, this is impossible, because we told the story, right? And even my caption, we told the story, and I think that was the day that Hove realized, because we got the quick C&D that day, we got the that slander, libel. It's like, nah, it's none of that. It's just the truth. And we didn't say it's a bad brand, don't support. We said none.
Right.
We just said,
just what it is.
That's it. And so, but he was like, yo, shit is crazy, but yo, just make sure don't nobody say nothing crazy. Because like even like legal teams, everybody hitting us like, yo, don't slander. I was like, we're not. Like we just telling the truth. Like, I had to call a few dogs off the ledge.
Yeah,
like,
relax.
Chill. But that was just a moment. I was like, man, culture drives all this shit, because like we just shook up the space of like, bro, this is a multi-billion-dollar space, and like just some cats who started a house party, and just moved it around organically and like followed, just their intuition and their smarts. Like we didn't shook this whole shit up.
Man, listen. Here's a couple things that I got so far, from this conversation with my brother Cam. Text me outside notes, you know what I mean? One, opportunity. Yeah. When those opportunities come, you need to show up. You know what I mean? Two, accountability. Mm-hmm. Hope y'all young cats is listening out here. You know what I mean? Go to the source. Cut the middleman out. These are the notes that I got. I don't know how y'all been taking notes, but this is how I've been taking notes. Be prepared. Yep. You know what I mean? He saw Bleak, but he wasn't prepared. He had to come back. You know what I mean? But then also he had to be flexible. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then another thing, Camden, I'm thinking about, and my bad to go off the topic of the notes that I gathered, but even when it came to networking, parties, and tech, because y'all really were one of the first parties that used Twitter, man. Yes. That's probably like the biggest thing that I got from this conversation so far. Sure. It's like, damn, son, like I forgot all about that, because I remember it though.
Yeah. Nah, but
I remember the tag.
It was y'all had so many cats that was nice on the Twitter game. Yep. It was like y'all had all the best New York Twitter voices. It was crazy. You know what I mean? To that point though, like it was so many cats that was like, you really didn't even know what they looked like. Mm-hmm. You just knew their handle and kind of their voice online. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So just to kind of like close the conversation down. So all right, so you end up doing the deal. The video announcement goes viral. Yep. Lead us to a Barclay, and then we'll kind of close out, because
that's where I want to go.
That's like the what they say, the creme de la vin, whatever. You know what I mean?
Come on. How the movie start off in Buffalo? It's all cold. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember the jackets y'all had that night, Ken. Y'all was killing that night. I ain't gonna hold y'all. That Barclays Center shit, y'all did y'all, man. Please speak on that, King. Please.
That was, to me, that was the culmination of really just 8 years of just being on the pulse of culture. It was really for New York, because that's where we started. That's where we always like cut our teeth. And, there was obviously the synergies there on the rock side of things, but that wasn't really a factor in our decision. Like we were just like, yo, we gotta shoot for it. Right. Like every time we went to a bigger venue, we was like, we gotta shoot for it. And like this is probably the only time we could do Barclays, because we were selling out Hammerstein Ballroom like back to back to back, and that's no easy feat. So we were like, where else can we go? And it became arenas. Like it was like Madison Square Garden Theater, all that. I was just like, yo, let's let's do Barclays. And when it was said, the fact that like nobody flinched, nobody was like, you sure? And it was just like, bet. And then we had an agent at the time, did the deal. We got a favorable deal from Barclays. It was just like, yo, we're going to give y'all, they had no idea who we were, but they were like, yo, if y'all can sell this out off the strength of our agent, there's like more power to y'all. And they came up to us, they're like, who are y'all booking? And we said, we don't know yet. Cause they do Powerhouse. They do a bunch of like the big ones. It's like, who are y'all booking? We said, we don't even know yet. But, and like the lady who was our contact, she's like, how many tickets you guys think you're going to sell when they go on sale? I was like, we'll probably sell this 50% through on the first day. And she was like, no chance. She's like, I've done concerts at Barclays since Barclays opened. Like the only people who do that are Jay-Z and, like basically the top tier artists.
Right, absolutely.
I was like, I'm telling you. And
now let me ask you this. At that time, the format was just a ticket.
Yep.
We included free liquor, like that had ended.
We had evolved it at that point to be just the ticket with drink tickets attached to it. So your ticket got you a couple of cocktails. We had to do that for legal purposes too, but it got you a couple of drinks. But the thing about Barclays, to do it the way we had been doing it, it would have cost us $500,000 to do that. But they was just like, we'll concede, we'll give y'all one. So everybody got a complimentary cocktail on the way in, but everything else was paid bar. That's when we were like, it's not like the liquor is a part of it. It's not like the main character, but it's a part of the story. And, the artists, the performances, that's also a part of it. But people are coming here for us. And like when we told that story about doing it at Barclays, we moved like 5,000-6,000 tickets in a day. And like to the point where people were buying tickets and didn't even know what they were buying tickets to. They were just like, I have to be there. Like, I don't know what's happening. We didn't announce a lick of talent. People were like, yo, we have to be there. And, I think it's so special and just so unique about that. It's like, we're not the first like regular promoters or dudes to throw a concert or throw something there. But I think it was the story. It was the evolution. It was the fact that we had people who were at our very first one in my house that hadn't been in a couple years, but they were like, I got to come to Barclays because I have to see that. We had people who we had been friends with online for years was like, I have to see that. Like, I just have to even witness. People were saying, we have to witness history.
I remember that. I remember the next morning, I remember watching it live because at this point, IG is out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like the IG of it all, the images, because what ended up being the jackets.
Cam had a nice coat. Nice coat that night. And hopefully Naomi can pull that. Our producer can pull that up.
What was the lineup? What was the lineup though? Like what ended up being the
front? We had everybody. We had Dipset. We had Fox. We had we did a state property reunion. We had Fab. We had Casanova. We had Party. We had Afro B. So like we had our link there. What else did we have? We had Fabio Foreign when Big Drip first came out. So like we had Fabio Foreign, like Big Drip was just like hot. So his first big live performance was on our stage and went absolutely crazy. Like absolutely crazy. And so, and like, bro, every time I run into him now, he's like, yo, dog, Barclays. Like, I just, even to see them, like artists, like backstage, like we on Barclays stage, like doing it and giving them that experience, giving our consumers that experience.
You know what else I remember, Mark? My bad, interrupt you, Ken. I remember y'all had like a New York Times or something.
Oh, bro.
Article or something. I remember that New York Times joint. I was like, okay, Cam and them is outside.
Yeah, we was in the Times, bro. We even not like the media space. Like Cass wasn't putting parties in Forbes, dog. We was in Forbes.
But again, going back to that prefix shit.
Yep.
that you guys had built a ecosystem around cats who had just developed and had just worked their way through the what is now the creative industry, and now they were just all at your doorstep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because New York at that time, like New York was fucking, man.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking crazy at that time, bro.
Crazy.
Pre-COVID, early, pre-2020. Man, that shit was crazy. Because what year was that? Was that 19 or 20?
That was 2019. That was right before COVID.
Right before COVID.
Yeah, right before COVID.
That was right before COVID. And what was so crazy about that time, and just like you're talking about the ecosystem, you got to think at this point, you're talking about 8 years. You're talking about 7, 8 years. So now you're watching people grow up in your family. You're watching, cats go
intern to like managers.
Yes. So you're watching that in real time, and like people remember you as a part of their story. So even now, like, bro, I go outside once in a blue moon, and like every time I go out, guarantee at least 3 people. Yo, I remember this one, and I'm just like, yeah, shit was crazy. Yo, dog, you're not doing that no more. Like this is like, but people connected to such a special time in their lives, what, like they can just identify with it and like remember like the time that they had and connections they made, and just and like kind of like how people grew up, because like I said, I'm 38, dog. Like I grew up through that. Like you got people who was coming to that party when they was 24, 25, 23. That's just like, and what you've seen is it's set somewhat of a blueprint for even how folks approach parties now, how they want to do it, how they want to scale it, which I think is stupid. Yeah,
and we're grateful to you because you showed us where it could go. You showed a lot of young kings like and queens where they could go. You know what I mean? How do you go from my man house apartment to the fucking Barclays Center? Like that's like,
and a deal with Hove.
Yeah,
and a deal with Hove. Like that's, bruh.
And it's
powerful stuff, man.
It's why I think it's the best part about what we do, right? It's like and for us, like just showing people what is possible, showing people what you can do. Like sometimes, like that's the best thing you can give a person, right? Is just like hope, inspiration for sure, but like know-how, right? Like, I'm big on that now. Like just like resources, like know-how, like really information, like showing people how to do it, because it's doable. Like I hope somebody eventually, does it better than me. Like I hope somebody like eventually takes it to a higher height, than what we were able to accomplish, because that's why we're here. Like we're here to stand on the backs of the people who come before us, right, and just make it better and see further than they were able to see. And I'm hoping that I get to see it in my lifetime. Just seeing somebody take it to another pinnacle. Like, damn, man, I didn't think this shit was possible. Like, cats come up to me like, man, when we was in the tunnel, doing this and that, nigga, we ain't see no shit like this popping off, but this got the same energy, but y'all just got 10,000 people singing it. Like, so like, I'm waiting to have that moment, with somebody as well, just cause that's what it's about, bro.
That's dope. I love that, man. Yo, before we get up out though, I think we definitely want to ask you, I got a couple quick questions I'll be wanting to ask. So one, what's your favorite restaurant? You know what I mean? Like the food side, like New York shit, LA shit, worldwide shit. Like what's your favorite restaurant?
My favorite restaurant. Like I only could pick one. Fuck.
Go-to joint.
Man, I gotta say, damn. Because if I say it, people gonna go and then it's gonna get packed. Damn, what it was. But no. I give some game. Il Molino Prime, and it's in Soho, Tribeca. It's like a 40 person restaurant. Old country Italian. I go because of the service. Like the food is phenomenal, but you can get phenomenal Italian food damn near anywhere in New York. But like it's white tablecloth. But you walk in there in your sweatsuit, they're gonna treat you like a king. They're gonna, I learn about wines in there, different type of shit. But the service is always A1. And they make me feel like I'm a celebrity. So Il Molino Prime and so.
Then I got my one last question, and I'm sure B got something before we close out. what is your one night? Like I personally, like I had a special night all-star weekend in Atlanta that is like, it changed my whole thing.
Man.
Do you have one of those nights?
That's me and my wife. That was a night. But I got a few that literally like life-changing, I'm thinking about everything differently nights. But one in particular that sticks out it was also All-Star Weekend, but it was in New Orleans. It was in New Orleans 2017. It was a Beats by Dre party, when Beats was doing the All-Star parties.
Absolutely.
It was a Hot Boys reunion on stage. So they brought out Wayne, Turk, Khaled was orchestrating it. Juvenile came out. And, at this point, I don't think they were like speaking like that, but it was a Hot Boys reunion. And I remember being in there with every NBA player was in there. Bron, KD, Marcus Cousins, Westbrook, everybody was in there. And I've partied with celebrities. For people who are interested, it's not fun. Like being in celebrity, like centric parties, it's usually not fun. That was the most fun I've ever seen people have. Like Wayne was up there performing mixtape Wayne joints. He was doing the gunplay rolling joint, like G5 sitting on the run, like and niggas is in there in tuxedos. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is life. Like, and to the point, bro, I'm Henny out the bottle, like in a bow tie, like next to Bron, just like singing. And I'm just, so boy, bro, end of the night, I'm so hit. Like I'm up there talking to my homegirl who was at Beats at the time. She put the event on. I'm by the DJ booth, stumbling, bro. I damn near broke Khaled's DJ equipment. Like I was just like, you gotta go. but literally in terms of just like memorable experiences, bro, I've been to 1,000 parties. Like I've been to a ton of parties with celebrities, but it's never like what people think it is. Like, y'all know this. But in that particular night, I was like, oh yeah, this is probably what cats think be happening at these shits all the time.
Right.
And it was one of those, bro. And I remember just, and then you walk out, you on Bourbon Street, so you're like, oh, nigga, it's lit. Like, let me. And and it was just, I remember being in there and just even like another thing that added to it was just people in there like, yo, dog, like we love what you do.
Like, you felt that love.
Yeah.
You felt that love that night.
Yeah. And that's what like really tied it in for me. And I was just like, man, like this is crazy. Like I had a lot of other nights like that. Like, but that one always sticks out to me. Just for those reasons.
That's dope.
Fire.
That's dope.
Man, I got one thing for you, Kam, and then I need you to do a little drop. But
Gotcha.
my thing is, can you give me a funny time when somebody was like, yo, text me when you outside, or you had to go and get somebody? You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole premise of this. Like, I'm pretty sure you got some funny stories.
Or is there somebody who always is that person at the wrong time? Like,
chronic offenders, bro. I have
call them out. You gotta call them out so that they know. That's the key.
I gotta shout out my man. I love him to death. Like, this is my dog. I partly love him for this reason. Like, this is my dog Rich. He gonna kill me, but my dog Rich Bodu. He's in New York. He's from Oklahoma, but like he was a part of that ecosystem that you were talking about earlier, Mark. And like the thing with Rich is like Rich just want to be where his homies is at. Like, he don't give a fuck what it is. Like, it could be the dive bar, it could be Beyonce's birthday. Like, he just want to be there. So he like, hey, I'm coming. And like, this would be when we was out of town. All that. We're like, oh yeah, word, no doubt. Put you on the list. You good. But then he'll get there late, or the door shut down, or he'll be with some extras, and you're like, yo, I'm at the spot. Can you come get me? And I'm just like, I got you. But because like I'm notorious for telling people no. Like I'll leave cats where they are. Like, oh, it's like you bugging. But for him, I always got a soft spot for my man Rich. Shout out to Rich. Love you, Rich, if you watch this. Like, but like I said, I love him partly because of the reason, because I kind of respect it. Like, nigga, you either gonna come get me or you ain't. Like, if you don't, we gonna have a conversation after. But he's probably who comes first to mind, was like, text me when you outside. And then I think for a story, oh my God, there's so many. But one that sticks in my brain was, we did Hammerstein Ballroom. We had T-Pain was like our headliner, and this is when he was starting to make his comeback into the scene. But this was the one that Hove came to. So I've been prepared for that all day, which we could have a whole other podcast to tell y'all that story. Bring me back. I got more hoodies in the stash. We do it. The lighting would be right, but nah. So Hove was there, but this is like middle of the show, like not in like, this is like smack dab in the middle of the show. So we're going. T-Pain had just got there, so we get him in his green room. He's set. So I'm moving to our green room to go get some water, whatever. I get the text like, yo, Hove is here. We want to say, is he good? Because we had it set up. We knew what to do at that point. I was like, is he good? He's like, yeah. All right, bet. It's like, yo, he want to say what up. Come upstairs. So we had like the side balconies in Hammerstein, like theater style, like going to see like a Broadway show type shit. So I walked to the stairs. Dog, it's like 60 niggas. Like, it's at the stairwell because he just walked through and just walked up. So I get there, and security, God bless her soul, she's like, nobody else could come up here. I was like, man, I'm the only person who can come up here. And she's like, wait, what? And but to her credit, she wasn't with nothing. She's like, everybody's saying they throw this party, which, was like I said before, I don't know who down or who not. But she's like, everybody telling me they throw this party. So I went into my email. I was like, just be patient with me. I went into my email, pulled up the venue contract, like enlarged it. I said, that's me. She's like, oh. And then somebody else at the same time, I think it might have been Lenny, who was coming down, like, no, he's the one who needs to be up there. Right? So that happens. Again, the 60 niggas ain't going nowhere. So everybody like, yo. Yeah. I was like, nah, y'all. Like, and instead of just like saying nah, turning, I was like, and please, like, get from in front of the stairs. Like, y'all are making this lady's like life a lot harder than it needs to be. Like, just go back in the party. Like, it's such and such from such and such. This cousin, copy. Like, down there. So then it was like 3 levels, right? So then there was a level to get into the suite. Granted, I know security now, his security. So they're like, because people were even like, people who had got past that level couldn't get into the main. So they're like, and it's people, from my team that was working the party. They're like, can we go on with you? I was like, why? Like, y'all are supposed to be working right now. Like they're leaving their posts. Like, niggas is like mid party. So I was like,
trying to see how.
It's like, we just want to. I said, y'all, I understand, but he's here to see the show. So
damn.
So then we get it there. Then I just go up there, say what up. That's the picture that's still on my gram to this day. I was just like,
that pic.
That's but that was like the ultimate. And I've seen some nasty doors in my day, dog. Like, I've done to like things I've been to. Like, I've seen cats trying to hop over fences, like pick locks for the back door, get on the freight elevator. I've seen all type of shit. And it's the nature of text me when you outside, bro.
Max, I love that.
What's good, everybody? This is Kam McCullough, founder, creator of Henny Palooza, Dusse Palooza. And catch me on Text Me When You Outside with my guys.